Hi guys, today I'm going to be reviewing another Beatles album. This time it is A Hard Day's Night. A Hard Day's Night is the third studio album by the Beatles, released on the 10th of July 1964 by Parlophone. First, having a closer look at the album cover. I really like this cover. It's one of my favourite Beatles covers. Robert Freeman, who took a lot of the Beatles album cover photos, took these black and white photos of the group and styled them like film strips. The US version I don't like as much. It's on a red background with one photo each. And here is the back. And we have pictures of them from their Hard Day's Night movie. I also have the album on CD. Here's the back. And then inside we've got more photos. And then a booklet, which I always like with the CDs, because I just love looking through all the photos. The Beatles began filming for their first film, A Hard Day's Night, on the 2nd of March 1964, and they were to record songs for both the film and the album, and they recorded the songs for the film first. Taking a break from filming, Ringo said a Ringoism, "It's been a hard day's night," and then that became the film's title as well as the album, and then Paul and John wrote a song to fit the title. The film was completed on the 1st of June, and then they recorded the rest of the songs for the album. George Harrison, playing his Rickenbacker 12-string electric guitar on this album, was a huge influence on other bands, including The Byrds, to move into rock and roll. The album was released on the 10th of July 1964 in the UK, and it was actually released 2 weeks earlier in the US on the 26th of June. The album has been listed as one of the most essential rock albums of all time. Now I'm going to give my thoughts on each of the tracks. So there are 13, I think, tracks on this album. Yeah, 13 tracks. Side 1 are the songs that feature in the film, and the other songs are the ones that are not in the film. It's the first Beatles album to feature entirely original compositions, and the only Beatles album where all the songs were written by Lennon-McCartney, with Lennon being the main writer for 9 of the 13 tracks. The first track on the album is A Hard Day's Night. This track was written mostly by John Lennon, which he wrote in one night. The song topped the charts in the UK and the US when it was released as a single. The song is known for its opening chord, played by Harrison, and the sound is apparently the most discussed pop opening of all time. In this song, Paul sings in the bridge because Lennon couldn't reach the high notes. This is one of their classic songs. It's instantly recognisable. The opening chord gives me goosebumps. It really is an iconic track, which I really like. The next track is I Should Have Known Better. This is another written by John Lennon. I really like this song a lot. It's one of my favourites on the album. I just think Lennon's vocals are amazing. I don't think it's one of their best written work, but I just find it so catchy. I really enjoy listening to this one. The next track is If I Fell. Lennon said that this was his first proper attempt at a ballad, and I just think it's a beautiful song. I really enjoy the melody and the harmonies, and I think that Lennon's low notes and McCartney's high notes work so well together. The next track is I'm Happy Just to Dance With You. Lennon and McCartney wrote this one for George to sing. I just love how this song sounds so cheery and upbeat. George is singing that he's happy to dance, but he's just not sounding very happy when he's singing this song. The next track is And I Love Her. This track was written mostly by Paul, and John said that this song was Paul's first Yesterday. I really love this song. It's easily one of my favourite songs on the album. It's so beautiful. I always enjoy listening to this one. Another example of how amazing Paul is at writing ballads. The next track is Tell Me Why. Lennon described this song as a Black New York girl group song. I think this is a fun, energetic song I find really catchy, and I think it has great harmonies again. The next track is Can't Buy Me Love. This track was written by McCartney at the Georgia Fifth Hotel in Paris. The song became the Beatles' fourth #1 in the UK, and it still remains one of the best-selling singles in the UK. This song is really special to me because it was the first Beatles song I listened to when I became interested in them, so it holds a lot of nostalgia for me, and I still remember, clear as day, playing it and just thinking, I love this song just after the first listen. The next song is Anytime at All, a song written mostly by John Lennon, and Lennon needed McCartney's help again with the high notes in this song, where McCartney sings the second Anytime at All in the chorus. I really love this song, another one I find so catchy. I always have to sing along to this one. This is one of the songs that always gets stuck in my head. I rate this one very high. The next track is I'll Cry Instead. This song was apparently written entirely by John Lennon. It was intended to be used for the film in the breakout scene where they're running around the field, but the director, Richard Lester, didn't like the song, so it was replaced with Can't Buy Me Love, which does kind of make sense to me because picturing this song being used in that scene where they're running around the field having a good time doesn't seem to fit. Cynthia, Lennon's wife at the time, said this song was a cry for help. Lennon later said it represented his frustrations with success and loss of freedom. This was an early favourite Beatles song of mine. I remember when I was younger playing this song over and over again. I was so hooked to it. I found it so catchy. I still find it really catchy. I really enjoy it to this day. It's a lot darker compared to some of their other songs, which is one of the reasons why it stood out to me when I first listened to this album. I just felt that it was different than the other tracks. The next song is Things We Said Today. This one was written by Paul. He wrote it when on holiday in the Virgin Islands. I love this song. It's so beautifully haunting, and Paul's lyrics, someday when we're dreaming, deep in love, not a lot to say, then we will remember things we said today. Wow, it's so beautiful. But you don't need to hear me raving on about how incredible Paul's writing is. You already know that. He is just an incredible songwriter, and I would say this one is perhaps one of his more underrated songs. I don't hear it being talked about as much, and I just can't wait to discuss his others. The next track is When I Get Home. This song was written by Lennon, who was influenced slightly by the Shirelles. This one is my least favourite track on the album. It just doesn't do much for me, really. I've never found it that catchy. The next track is You Can't Do That. Another written by Lennon. It was the B track to their Can't Buy Me Love single. I do enjoy listening to this song, but it does get lost a bit for me on this album. I don't know why, because I do enjoy listening to it. It's just personally not one of my favourites. And the last track on the album is I'll Be Back. I'll Be Back. Sorry, I couldn't help that. That was awful. This was written mostly by Lennon. It took 16 takes to record, and during one of the recordings, Lennon said that it was too hard to sing. A bit like the previous song, I don't dislike it, but it's not one of my favourites on the album. I seem to have taken a bit of a dip with these last three songs not being my favourites. It may surprise a few people because I think this is one of the more popular songs from the album, but it's just never really done much for me. But like I said, I don't dislike it. I still enjoy listening to it. I'm now going to rank my least to favourite track from the album. At number 13, I've got When I Get Home. 12, I'll Be Back. 11, You Can't Do That. 10, I'm Happy Just to Dance With You. 9, Tell Me Why. 8, If I Fell, which just seems too low for me. Actually, these next 3 songs just feel too low. It was just so hard for me to order these songs. At number 7, Can't Buy Me Love. 6, A Hard Day's Night. I did want it higher, I really did, but I couldn't drop the other 5 songs I have on my list. Number 5, Things We Said Today. I wanted that one higher too. This was a tough list for me to make. Number 4, Anytime at All. Number 3, I Should Have Known Better. Number 2, And I Love Her. And at number 1, I've got I'll Cry Instead, which I'm guessing is probably not everyone's favourite song on the album. I might be wrong, but this one, it just goes back to my childhood, being obsessed with the song. It just hasn't really dropped for me. I still really enjoy listening to it. Overall, this is a very strong album for me. I found it really hard to order the songs. I just love so many of them from this album. The album kicks off with one of the most famous opening chords, which just makes this album instantly recognisable, and straight away I'm just there for the album. I really love this one. I love this album so much, and it isn't even one of my favourite Beatles albums, so I just can't wait to discuss their others. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please let me know your thoughts on the album and your favourite tracks, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!